as you look at the forest behind me, there's this beautiful canopy. It's just an explosion of colors in the fall as you walk through the forest. It's like God has painted this gorgeous portrait above us. Now, I want to think about a different portrait that's been painted, one that Michelangelo painted over 400 years ago in the Sistine Chapel. Why am I talking about the Sistine Chapel on postings about creation? Well, it's because lots of people have been sucked into this idea that it doesn't matter how God created, as long as we acknowledge there's some force or some God or something behind it all. He just used evolution. Well, the problem with evolution is twofold. First of all, it really doesn't work. Little changes over time couldn't create the gorgeous intricacy and beauty and interdependency of all the organisms you find in a forest like this. Second, it flat out denies and ignores what God has told us in the Bible. And it doesn't give credit to God's genius and abilities and artistic nature. Think about this. Imagine Michelangelo, day after day, laying on his back, week after week, month after month, year after year, painting this beautiful artistry and creativity above the Sistine Chapel on the ceiling. I mean, it's gorgeous, even today as you go look at it hundreds of years later. But now imagine his children watching him day after day. Dad, come play with us. No, I'm busy painting. I've got to finish this painting. And they watch their father create this magnificent work of art. So now I want you to imagine years later, maybe decades later, you come back to the Sistine Chapel after your father, Michelangelo, has died. And you join a tour group. And the tour leader brings you into this beautiful chapel, points up at the ceiling and says, this may look like it was created by an intelligent artist, but actually, as water seeped down through the ceiling, it picked up minerals, and the picture began to appear. And all by itself, all of these things on the Sistine Chapel, they just made themselves. You would be livid. You would be in absolute disbelief that anybody could believe that beauty and intricacy could just create itself by some natural process. I think this is the attitude we need to have as the world is telling us the gorgeous beauty and magnificence of the biological world simply made itself by random mistakes and changes to the DNA code, and bacteria turned into people, and all of the magnificence of the created biological world just made itself. It's actually ridiculous. And yet, when people are told over and over again, and they don't believe what God has told us, they get sucked into believing it. So, no, God did not use evolution. Evolution can only modify information that's already there to make variations of the same kind of creature. New creatures could never be created by any sort of evolutionary process. They require a creative genius of the magnitude of Michelangelo and way beyond.